Right now, somewhere in the world, someone is dying, and someone else is watching them go, maybe holding their hand, maybe standing in a hospital corridor, not knowing what to do with their own hands. And you'll probably spend the rest of your life trying not to think too hard about it. Now, press rewind. 40,000 years. Same body, same fear, but there's no word for death, no hospitals, no corridors. Just a warm body going cold in the dark, and a feeling rising in the chest that no creature had ever had to name before. So what did they do? When the first humans lost someone, what actually happened next? The answer is the strangest, most beautiful thing our species has ever done, and it might be the exact moment we became human. Let's start with something humbling. Grief did not begin with us. Elephants will stop and gather around the bones of their dead, touching the skull with their trunks, sometimes standing in silence for hours, sometimes returning to the same spot for years. Chimpanzee mothers have been seen carrying their dead infants for days, even weeks, refusing to let go long after the body has gone still. Crows hold what researchers call funerals, gathering silently around a dead crow, not eating, not moving, just watching. The ache of losing someone is older than language, older than fire, older than the first stone tool. We inherited it. So feeling the loss was never the special part. Every animal that bonds suffers when the bond breaks. The question is this: when did a creature first look at a dead body and decide it was more than meat? When did we start to do something about death? Not just feel it, but respond to it. Because that decision changes everything. For that, we have to travel to a cave in northern Spain, in the mountains of Atapuerca. Deep inside the rock, past chambers no sunlight has ever touched, is a vertical shaft that drops 30 meters into the earth. Scientists call it the Sima de los Huesos, the pit of bones. At the bottom, they found the remains of at least 28 individuals, not our species, an older human ancestor, Homo heidelbergensis, who walked this earth before we existed. And here's what stops you. These bodies are around 430,000 years old, almost 500,000 years. Bodies don't fall to the bottom of a hidden shaft by accident, again and again, for generations. The shaft isn't near a campsite. There's no evidence of habitation near it. Someone was carrying their dead to that place and dropping them in, deliberately. And among all those bones, archaeologists found a single object, a beautiful pink quartzite hand axe, finely crafted, unlike any ordinary tool of the period. They nicknamed it Excalibur. It had never been used. It may be the oldest funeral offering on Earth, the first time a living creature gave a gift to the dead. But here's the part nobody talks about. The species we mock as brutish cavemen, the Neanderthals, may have mourned their dead with something disturbingly close to tenderness. In Shanidar Cave, in the Zagros Mountains of Iraq, an archaeologist named Ralph Selecki spent years carefully excavating the remains of 10 Neanderthals, buried between 60 and 80,000 years ago. One of them, a man who had survived terrible injuries, a crushed foot, a withered arm, probably blind in one eye, had been placed in the ground with care. And in the soil around his body, Selecki's team found dense clusters of ancient pollen from at least 8 species of flowering plants: yarrow, groundsel, grape hyacinth, ephedra, all of them plants with known medicinal properties. The conclusion that seized the world: someone had buried this Neanderthal on a bed of flowers, a flower funeral, 60,000 years ago. Now, I owe you the honest version. That story has been challenged. Some scientists argue burrowing rodents called Persian geards could have dragged those seeds into the cave, not grieving hands. But then, in 2020, researchers from Cambridge re-excavated Shanidar and found a new individual, Shanidar Z, also carefully positioned, also with fresh plant material nearby. The question reopened. Whether or not there were flowers, one thing is hard to deny. These were not creatures abandoning their dead. They were laying them down carefully and leaving something behind. And then our own species did something almost impossible to comprehend. In 1955, near the town of Sungir in Russia, a construction crew broke ground and hit bones, a grave around 34,000 years old. In it lie 2 children, a boy of around 12 and a girl of 9 or 10, buried head to head. And they are covered, completely, impossibly covered, in more than 10,000 beads, each one individually carved from mammoth ivory. Stay with that number. Experimental archaeologists have tried to replicate those beads using only the tools of the time. Each bead, around 45 minutes to an hour of skilled work. 10,000 beads. That is between 7 and 10,000 hours of human labor. In a world where people were hungry, cold, and hunted, dedicated entirely to honoring two children. Beside them lay mammoth tusk spears, fox teeth pendants, and a carved ivory disc placed over the girl's chest. Why? There's only one answer that makes sense. They didn't believe those children were gone. They were sending them somewhere, fully equipped, adorned, honored, for whatever came next. This is the earliest evidence we have of a belief in an afterlife. The moment humans first imagined a door on the other side of death. I'll tell you something. The first time I stood at a funeral, I remember feeling completely lost. Not just sad, lost. Unsure of what to do, what to say, where to look. I remember thinking how strange the whole ritual was. The flowers, the formal words, the way nobody could just leave, even when it was over. It took me years to understand that the strangeness was the point. That we do it precisely because there's nothing rational to do. That refusing to walk away from the dead is one of the oldest things my species knows. Because here's the reframe. Burying our dead wasn't really about the dead at all. A body returned to the earth covered in beads or flowers or stones, that changes nothing for the person who's gone. They don't know. They can't know. The burial, the flowers, the 10,000 beads, those were for the living. They were the moment a human being first looked at loss and said, "This mattered. You mattered. And I will not let you simply vanish." That is not instinct. That is a choice. And it is, as far as we can tell, uniquely ours. That choice, to mark a life, to hold on, to imagine a somewhere after, is the seed of every religion humanity has ever built. Every monument, every name carved in stone, every candle lit in a dark church, every grave you have ever walked past, covered in flowers left by someone who couldn't bear to do nothing. It is, quite possibly, the first truly human thought. Not the hand axe, not the fire, not the painting on the cave wall. The moment someone knelt beside a body and decided, "This is not the end of you." The first humans couldn't stop death. They couldn't explain it. They couldn't even name it. So they did the only thing they could. They refused to forget. And 40,000 years later, you still bring flowers to a stone, and you have no idea you're repeating the oldest ritual on Earth. But there's a twin to this instinct. The same refusal to walk away from the dead is what makes us refuse to walk away from the dying. The sick, the hurt, the ones who can't yet save themselves. That instinct is even older than the first burial. And the proof of it is in a cave in Iraq, in the bones of a one-eyed man with a withered arm who somehow survived for decades. Someone stayed with him. We'll uncover that story next.